Hey guys, and welcome back to Mad About Skin. In today's video, I am super excited because we're talking Korean sunscreens. But we're not talking about a Korean sunscreen scandal. We're not talking about some of our favourite brands failing to deliver the promises that they make on products. And we're not talking about sunscreens which don't deliver the protection we've paid for. Instead, I feel like we've turned a corner, and I'm sharing with you a whole suite of testing which has just taken place and actually demonstrates that some of our favourite Korean sunscreens from some of our favourite Korean skincare brands are in fact delivering the protection advertised. Today I want to share with you the outcomes of some of that testing, so sit back, relax, and let's talk the very best of Korean sunscreens. I think rightly so, Korea and the Korean regulators, the Korean industry as a whole, has been called out in the past couple of years for really failing to deliver what they promised as brands, and for the regulators failing to protect us, the consumer, by making sure that brands were able to justify and live up to the claims they make. However, this isn't something that's just unique to Korea. This has happened in, the UK, it's happened in Europe, across in North America, and also in Australia. Australia has some of the tightest regulations, but this is on the back of a similar thing happening in the past. And so I don't think we should sit here and just demonize Korean brands and skincare, and really we should turn it around and celebrate the successes, the brands which have really lived by that transparency and they're delivering us amazing products, which is kind of the purpose of this video. I'm going to be breaking it down and focusing on the brands which are easily accessible here in the West. I've left a link in the description box to all the brands and their specific products which were tested and the outcomes of those tests. Check those out if you want the full suite of information. I'm actually focusing down on the ones that I've tried myself so I can give my opinion on the feel of the product and how it works, but also the ones that are most accessible here in the West. And again, I've left links to any of these products if you do want to purchase them or check them out in more detail. This testing was conducted by the Korean Institute of Dermatological Sciences, and I'm going to leave a link to their video where they shared their thoughts, feelings, and of course all this data in the section below. So do check that out because it's definitely worth seeing because they create some amazing content. Now I'm going to cut the waffle and jump straight on into it. If you are interested in one brand more than another, I've included timestamps below. So be my guest and jump to any part of the video that you want to. But first of all, I want to call out the Isntree Hyaluronic Acid Watery Sun Gel. This has been advertised by Isntree. It's been an SPF of 50 plus, and the testing showed it was delivering an average of an SPF of 53.5 and a PFA rating which gives the UVA protection of 19.5, which is reasonably high in terms of the level of UVA protection that's been given by this product. I am delighted. I am literally delighted. I'm also a little bit stunned because I've always thought when I've tried this product in the past, how do they manage to get that gorgeous, light, elegant feel? It's completely invisible on the skin, which means it's perfect for people of all different skin types. And it's also nicely hydrating. That hyaluronic acid will act as a humectant, which means it'll retain more moisture in the skin. So it's really great if you have dry or dehydrated skin. And I tried it and I loved it, but I was really suspicious as to how they could create such a beautiful texture and still deliver an SPF of 50 plus. Well, that was just the cynic in me because I'm so thrilled and delighted that this has passed independent third-party testing and that this is a brand which so many of you guys reach for day in, day out. So it's fantastic that you can continue to use the sunscreen with confidence. It was actually Cassandra Bankson which first put me onto this product. I think she reviewed it maybe like a year ago. I tried it, I loved it, but it was those doubts in my mind thinking, this is too good to be true, which meant that I didn't repurchase it. Now that this has been tried, tested, and independently verified, I will be straight back out to purchase this because it is such a gorgeous feel on the skin and a really great product if you do want something that's a little bit more hydrating than your average sunscreen and want to give, tackle some dryness or dehydration in the skin. Some of the places you can buy this sunscreen are listed below, and I will list whether the sunscreens mentioned are either chemical or mineral in composition below, just to save time in the video. But if you do want to know that, check the description box below. So thrilled that this product passed, and honestly, I cannot wait to pick it up again. Now we're going to come on to the Dr. Jart Every Sun Day Mild Sun Cream. This was advertised as an SPF of 43, which when it was launched really intrigued me because it's very rare that we see those specific numbers for the SPF value given on bottles. I'd love that, and I think this is a huge way forward, and I'd love to see more of this in the industry rather than just slapping the SPF 50 plus on the bottle and working with it. I think these are really good and clearly show some degree of transparency. However, as we've seen from the whole Korean sunscreen scandal, we can't always rely on what brands and manufacturers tell us, so it's great to see this third-party testing. And pretty much bang on, because it was tested at an SPF of 43.5, which is fantastic. Clearly, Dr. Jart had done their testing, they'd taken the average, and that's what they're advertising to us, the consumer, and it's great that that's now been backed up in independent testing. The one thing that was a slight letdown for this product is the PFA rating, which gives the UVA protection, which was measured at 8.6 6, which is relatively low. This is actually in keeping with what the brand advertised, so they weren't lying. It passed that in that sense. But for us here in Europe and obviously North America, we're probably used to slightly higher UVA levels of protection. And so whilst, you know, if you're not going out and about, sitting in the major sun, exposing yourself to huge amounts of UV light, this could work for you. But I will just caution that it's relatively low on the UVA rating, which is what ages our skin. UVB burns us, UVA ages us. That's kind of how I like to see it, though it's a bit more complex than that. However, this is relatively low on that UVA rating, so just to bear that in mind. This product is super lightweight. When I used it, honestly, it was like you were wearing nothing, and it's completely invisible again. This gives that beautiful finish to the skin, and whilst I'm not going to repurchase this just because I want a slightly higher UVA rating in terms of the protection given, it is definitely a great product, and if you've got it in your collection, perfectly safe to use, independently tested and verified. Now, let's keep with Dr. Jart, because actually 2 of their products passed this independent testing, and I'm going to talk now about the Dr. Jart Every Sunday Waterproof Sun Milk. This is advertised at an SPF of 50+, and the testing showed it to be averaging an SPF of 55, which is fantastic. The PFA, the UVA protection in this, is way more than what was seen in the previous Dr. Jart product at 19.5. This is fantastic because, again, that's much more in keeping with a higher level of UVA protection and kind of the value that I'd be looking for from my sun care products. This product is advertised as Sun Milk, which is terminology used in Korean sun care products to kind of reference a creamy texture on application that then goes fairly matte. This is what I got from this product. Haven't used it in a while, but when I apply this to my skin, you get a beautiful creaminess that's almost on the hydrating side, but it has a much more matte finish than the previous Dr. Jart product that I spoke about. This is definitely, I'd say, for people that do have excess oil in their skin, because it will give a very light mattifying and make it perfect for me. I'm going to reach for this again, put another bottle on order and do a retest of it, because I really enjoyed it when I last used it. And again, the only reason I stopped is because of the whole Korean sunscreen scandal. So now that they've passed their independent third-party testing, I honestly think of the 2 Dr. Jart ones, this is the one that I'm going to reach for and try again, because it gets a higher level of UVA protection. You've also got a higher level of SPF protection in this, and I just think the finish is more applicable to my slightly oily skin type. Now, finally, I'm going to mention 2 Round Lab 365 sunscreens. I love Round Lab. They're one of my favorite Korean brands. I love some of their moisturizers, which just give a beautiful level of hydration and honestly feel so good on their skin. In terms of their sunscreens, I was really keen to try them when they came out, which I did. And again, I paused because of the sunscreen scandal, but now I've got 2 that I can definitely go back to. First of all, we're going to talk about the Derma Relief Sun Cream. This product is actually tested as the highest SPF of all the ones in this suite of testing, at an average of an SPF of 60. This is higher than the SPF 50+ that Round Lab advertised for the product, and the PFA, the UVA protection, was also reasonably good at an 18.5. That's definitely in the region of what I would look for in terms of UVA protection. So this is probably, of the 2 Round Lab that I'm going to talk about, this is probably the one that I'm going to put on order. Completely invisible, 0 white cast, will work for all skin tones, which I absolutely love. It's one of those really accessible products that leaves a beautiful finish to the skin, and I would say it's genuinely middle of the road. It's not too hydrating, but it's also not super mattifying either, so I think it'll work for almost all skin types. Super universal, giving you a really high UVB and UVA level of protection. Just an all-round amazing product and a ding 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 holy grail. The other Round Lab product I want to mention is their Tone Up Sun Cream. This is advertised at SPF of 50+ and was delivered in the independent testing on average an SPF of 51. It also delivered a PFA, so UVA protection rating, of 10. This is lower on the UVA protection, which is why I'm probably going to go for the other Round Lab product when I look to purchase rather than this one. It also has a totally different finish to the skin. So Tone Up is usually code when it comes to Korean skincare. Tone Up usually means it gives a little brightening, gives a little bit of lightening to the skin in terms of the finish. This is definitely the case for this product, which goes on almost a little bit peachy in colour and gives a brightening to the skin. That's fine if you're super light, super fair skinned, this will probably work for you. However, I do think having that finish to it does limit the skin tones which this will be applicable for, and I think even for me it came across as a little bit ashy and almost like a little bit, it just didn't work with my skin tone. I think if you have a fairer skin tone than myself, you could probably use this product, but for anyone that has a darker, deeper and richer skin tone, this just isn't going to be applicable for you, and it will look slightly odd on the skin and give an odd hue to the complexion. I think it's a shame, but again, you still got another Round Lab product I mentioned earlier that you can go for. So actually, this is a great product if you are very much on the fair skin scale, but for everybody else, I just reach for the other Round Lab product where you're getting the better UVA protection anyway. It's completely invisible, and I think overall the finish is just nicer. So there you have it, guys. 5 Korean sunscreens that you can reach for and trust in terms of giving you that SPF locked in, guaranteed protection. I do want to call out that we should always see sunscreens as kind of like a two-piece jigsaw, where you're looking at the SPF value, which protects you from burning, but also you've got to consider the UVA radiation, which can damage and age the skin as well. And so you should always see the UVA protection alongside the SPF value given. Hopefully I've called this out in the video, which will allow you to make a more informed choice. And don't forget, there were far more brands which did pass testing, and I've linked them below. I focused down on these 5 specifically because they're the ones that I've tried, and I can share with you my thoughts and feelings on how they applied, and also they're the most accessible here in the West. But of course, if you can get your hands on any of the others, I'd love to know your thoughts and feelings. All of the testing, all of the products put through testing date were proven to be benzene free. There's been a whole host of talk online about benzene, which is a known human carcinogen, appearing in some popular sunscreens. I'm going to link a video I did on this, which I'll link up there, so check that out if you are worried about that. But all of the ones tested today were proven to be benzene free. It's too early, and this is too small a sample to say that all of the Korean brands and manufacturing is going to end up benzene free, but this is certainly a really great start for the Korean industry in terms of that benzene and finding it in products. So I think this is a really great step forward. I'd love to know your thoughts and feelings on any of the products mentioned today. Are there any others that you'd love to see testing on? Sound off in the comments section below. Wherever you are in the world, guys, stay safe, stay well, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Take care. Bye.